Energy, energy, energy. All right, this is it right here. What's good, everyone? It's CJ. We're back at it again today. Today we're gonna cook up some ambient trap beats in Logic Pro X. Barely Brandon sent me over his brand new loop kit called Planet 8. It's super fire. I'll put a link in the description if you want to check it out, as well as in the cards right here. All right, let's get into this thing. We're gonna start cooking up now. So I just imported the loop. Let's set the BPM to the sample, which is 155. And let's just have a listen to it real quick. Alright, I was just checking to see where the breakdown is. Let's go ahead and make our first cut here. 17. Alright, what I like to do is just, get myself situated with the sample first. So basically what I'm doing is just cutting it up so that I have it in, at least like 4-bar, 8-bar sections, something like that. So just make it a 4-bar sections like this. This way I can rearrange things and make it sound the way I want. So maybe what we'll do is bring these guys over here. We'll start with this. Alright, so what I'm going to do is take this one out. We'll just repeat this one here, like so. Alright, so once you got it set, what we're going to do is zoom in a little bit. We're going to use our fade tool and just fade our sample in and out. Come to the back one, make sure it says fade out. If there's too much of a break, just select all of them again and zoom in closely. What you could do then is just make them shorter and also put a bend in them like this. Let's go ahead and start adding some hi-hats here. So I'm going to use EXS24 for that in stereo. Pick a hi-hat we like. There's usually go-to sounds that I have that I always like using. Once you find your style and the way you like to make music, there's always going to be go-to sounds that you use. So this is the hi-hat I chose. I like to find the pitch first before I start laying down my hi-hat so I can figure out how it's going to sound. I like a higher pitch like that, so let's use our brush tool, go to an 8th note, and then I'm going to hold shift down, select every second one, and then bring down the velocity, of the second hi-hat. You want to make sure that you're on note velocity, so if you turn this on, make sure to go to note velocity, and then you can change the velocity of each MIDI note. Alright, so now you could just highlight those and hit Command R to repeat it. Let's go ahead and start adding some drum elements to this. So I'm going to use another software instrument. Go to the Ultra Beat, use drag and drop samples. As always, I'll put a link in the description for you to download this Logic Pro X file so you can go ahead and follow along. And I'm just going to load a sample here. For this beat, I'm going to use the Tunnel Visions Volume 2 drum kit, which is also available from frequency.com. I'll put a link in the description as well as in the cards. Let's go ahead and find a snare that would work for this. Alright, so now that you've selected your snare, drop it on subgroup 2, 3, and 4. If you hit X on the keyboard, expand your drum kit like this, all the channel strips like that. quantize that just by hitting Q, bring all those samples up, and maybe tone it down just a bit more. All right, next I'm gonna add an 808, but before I do that, maybe I want to change the pitch of the sample a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a pitch shifter to this in stereo, and let's bring the semitones to 0. I'm gonna bring the mix up to 100%, and let's drop it by 50 cents. Let's go ahead and find an 808 vibe that would match this. Let's add some gliding effects to that 808 a little bit. So just going to use the glide, maybe 69 milliseconds. I'm always a fan of adding additional stuff on top of the sample, so I found this vocal chop that I really like. So I just brought it into the same key of G minor. I'm just gonna go ahead and chop the low end off of that sample from Arcade. And maybe bring the volume down just a tad. Let's go ahead and add that on top of it. It really doesn't have to be that much, but you know, just enhancing it a little bit goes a long way. So I'm going to bring that to the portion where the other instrumentation comes in. Alright, so now we can start adding some more drum elements to this. So I'm going to go back to my Ultra Beat and let's find a kick to work with here. Let's drop that on a mono channel. I'm really not worried about clipping inside these channel strips. What I'm worried about is more the clipping in the stereo output, but I got a soft clipper on top of that, so it's not clipping. Let's go ahead and create a new pattern here. I'm just going to cut it right here. And that's going to create a new pattern, so we'll have the kick drop on this. Let's record the kick. Quantize that. I like the way the sample is right now. I'm going to go ahead and right click and bounce this in place. Basically that's going to create a new sample out of it. So we can mess around with this sample maybe over here. Try to find a different structure, maybe add some halftime or something like that. So let's go ahead and drop a audio effect on this. I'm going to use halftime by Cable Guys. Have it drop in instantly, 8th note, and maybe the mix to like 63%. Always add an EQ after halftime so you can cut the low end back off so it doesn't clash with your, 808s and your kicks and stuff. Just going to copy this over. All right, cool. So now that we have like pretty much all the elements of the beat that you want to start arranging it. So I'm gonna give it a let's give it a 4-bar intro actually, something short. And I'm just gonna chop this portion right here. Let's bring that over. I'm gonna use the fade tool. Come in here, just go ahead and drop in a fade like this. Maybe, yeah, let's do like 1/8 of a bar. Let's right click this and say slow down. Put a bend in it like that. At this time we could also add our tag. I don't want to overdo it. I want to keep it simple, but at the same time, I feel like it could benefit from some percussion. So maybe let's go ahead and just loop off a section here where we can add some percussion. Maybe in some portions we can actually add a high cut filter to this. I'm just basically turning on the high cut frequency on the EQ that I have on that sample. I'm going to hit A on the keyboard to bring up my automation. Let's go to the EQ and just use high cut frequency. I've shown this in tutorials I've done a long time ago, but this definitely can enhance, what you're trying to sound like. So I'm thinking for the hook here, what I'm going to do is take the 808 out and add a sub bass to it. I already found the sound, so let's go ahead and record that. Really fucking with this vibe so far. So let's go ahead and add some hi-hat rolls now. And I'm just going to chop the hi-hats to make separate patterns. I think the last sound that I'm going to add is a somewhat of a crash or a cymbal sound. So let's go ahead and add another EXS24 in stereo. I think this beat is pretty much done. What I'm going to do now is maybe add a few cuts, before it drops, just to emphasize the drop a little more. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. I'm going to have a final listen now to the whole beat. If you have any suggestions for new tutorials or whatever, put those in the comments section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you're notified anytime I upload some new content. My name is CJ, and I'm out for now. Peace.